You also mentioned that there is a cost of not doing this research that's very difficult to prove in advance, but that cost is that you might fail in that market by not understanding the culture of the people that live there. Now, something that's been in the media of late is organizations from one culture having to backtrack, apologize, or alter their position when they offend people of another culture. Now, the example that comes to mind for me is the NBA's drama at the moment with China. How does politics affect, or what role does politics play in the considerations that organizations need to have when adapting their products or services for another country?
Politics is definitely, you remember earlier on we talked about holistic view and we talked about history and we talked about political and context. So politics is definitely one thing that you don't want to offend and do it wrong, because sometimes you can just apologize and back again, and sometimes it's hard for you to get back to where you have to be because the damage has been done. So one of the very obvious one is geopolitical. When it comes to China, there are a lot of companies make a lot of mistakes by, for example, Marriott a few years ago, they commissioned a survey being done by an agency, and the agency accidentally put, I can't remember, Hong Kong or Taiwan or Macau as a country, and that backlash, and Marriott website in China has been closed down for 2 weeks. And outside the UK, Marriott China is the most sales they have. They were shut down by the government for 2 weeks and has to apologize. And following that, Zara and Delta, I remember they make similar mistake by doing that. So that is kind of geopolitical issues that you have to be very, very careful, especially in countries that are very sensitive on that. Yeah, and I think there's another one is politics is one thing, and then the other thing is I saw is religion as well, because it's really important that you don't want to offend anything that is, people care about that. And I think there's one example I used to use is it's a games, I can't remember which game, like one of the shooting games that they have Quran in the toilet, and that kind of raised a lot of anger. Recently, Aldi, the supermarket in Aldi as well, they kind of have a masala curry, beef masala curry from India. They kind of say it, and Hindu actually doesn't eat beef. So it's kind of like people actually be a bit cross and feel like it's insensitive when you do the marketing incorrectly. So those are the things that it's kind of basic things. I say basic, so it's important and fundamental that you don't want to get it wrong, because that is a backlash on that. So I come up with a ladder called three level culturalizations, which the bottom bit is this kind of fundamental things you shouldn't do wrong if you go to a country. You shouldn't offend anyone or politically kind of offend any government or any parties within that countries. And then the second level is level where it's kind of the basic things that you should give your customers or users the basic experience. Like, for example, you want to address them in the right names. You want to capture their names and last name and first name right. You know, in Malaysia, I'm called Tan Chui Chui. In the UK, I'm called Chui Chui Tan. So you kind of want to make sure your fields are putting it properly. So when people don't read label, they put in their names correctly and you kind of address them correctly. And then numeric format or the address and also payment method. Those are the things, that basic things that you should make it right to your users. And then the third level is more like cultural elements that I talk about, like you delight them by providing something even more that they need and delight their experience even in a matter. For the second level, actually, I created something called Global Design Guide for different countries where people could kind of follow from naming to fonts and to payment method to social network that they're using, which hopefully will be helpful for people who actually trying to design or serve their users in different countries.